Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. You thought she was a blessing, a gift from God sent to complete your life. She seemed gentle, kind and vulnerable, someone who needed you, appreciated you, and saw the depth of your soul. But now you feel like a shadow of yourself, drained, confused, trapped. How did you get here? The truth is, not all narcissists are obvious. Some do not boast, rage, or demand the spotlight. The female covert narcissist is far more insidious. She weaves her web quietly, disguising manipulation as love and control as vulnerability. She does not just take your time, energy, or resources. She takes you, your identity, your purpose, your faith. And if you are a Christian man, someone who believes in love, sacrifice, and redemption, you are exactly the kind of person she is looking for. The Bible warns us repeatedly about wolves in sheep's clothing, Matthew 7:15. Yet as Christian men, we are taught to protect, serve, and love unconditionally, values that can be twisted into shackles when placed in the wrong hands. The female covert narcissist feeds on your integrity, generosity, and desire to be a good man. She makes you believe that without you, she will fall apart. At first, it feels like a divine connection, a relationship filled with intensity, passion, and a deep emotional bond. She tells you things she has never told anyone before. She shares her painful past to stir your compassion. She praises your strength and integrity, making you feel like the only man who has ever truly understood her. But it is not love. It is a setup. Little by little, she will pull the strings. She will make you feel guilty for things you never did. She will test your loyalty over and over. She will make you prove your love through endless sacrifices. And when you begin to realize something is wrong, she will turn the blame on you, convincing you that you are not loving enough, not strong enough, not patient enough. This is not a relationship. This is a psychological and spiritual battle. If you feel like you are losing yourself, if you are constantly anxious about keeping her happy, if you feel trapped but afraid to leave, this video is for you. You are not alone. Thousands of men have walked this road before, but God did not create you to be a prisoner to manipulation. This is your wake-up call. In this video, we will expose the hidden tactics of the female covert narcissist, the mind games she plays, the spiritual chain she uses to keep you bound, and most importantly, how you can break free. If you have ever felt trapped in a relationship that slowly drained your soul, hit the like button to spread awareness. You never know who might need this right now. Are you ready to reclaim your identity and step back into the man God created you to be? Let's dive in. Who is she looking for? Why you are the perfect prey. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "The safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts." That is exactly how a female covert narcissist operates. She does not storm into your life with destruction and chaos. She does not show her true colors immediately. Instead, she slowly, subtly, and deliberately leads you down a path where you don't realize you're trapped until it feels too late. And make no mistake, she did not choose you by accident. She has a list of qualities she's searching for, and if you are a Christian man who values love, sacrifice, and integrity, you are her ideal target. PHIL, the 4 traits that make you vulnerable. The female covert narcissist does not seek just anyone. She specifically looks for men with noble, Christ-like characteristics. Why? Because she needs someone who will give endlessly, endure manipulation, and stay even when it hurts. Let's break down the 4 key qualities she is hunting for. P. Protector. Defend the weak and the fatherless. Uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. Psalm 82, verse 3. You are a protector by nature. You believe that God has called you to stand in the gap for others, to shield those who are vulnerable, and to provide security for the people you love. This is a beautiful and God-honoring trait. But the female covert narcissist twists this. She creates situations where she appears weak, broken, and in desperate need of your protection. She tells you heartbreaking stories about past betrayals, abusive exes, and deep emotional wounds. She makes you believe that you are the only one who can save her. What happens? You take on the role of her rescuer. You justify her manipulations because you see her as a wounded soul, not a master manipulator. And before long, your desire to protect becomes the very thing that chains you to her. H. Helper. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to act. Proverbs 3:27. You have a heart for service. You help because you believe it is the right thing to do. You give even when it costs you something. The female covert narcissist exploits this. She constantly plays the victim, making you feel responsible for her emotions, her problems, even her mistakes. Every crisis in her life becomes your crisis to fix. Every problem she faces becomes your burden to carry. At first, it feels like an act of love, but slowly you start to realize no matter how much you give, it is never enough. And the moment you try to set a boundary, she accuses you of being selfish, unloving, or even unchristian. Integrity. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Proverbs 11:3. Integrity is what defines you. You keep your word. You honor your commitments. You believe that when you love someone, you do not simply walk away when things get hard. The female covert narcissist preys on this. She knows that if she can get you to promise to always be there for her, you will feel obligated to stay even when it's destroying you. She subtly tests your commitment by making small, seemingly harmless requests at first. But over time, those requests turn into impossible demands, and even when she betrays you, disrespects you, or manipulates you, she reminds you of your commitment, making you feel guilty for even thinking about leaving. L. Loving. Love is patient. Love is kind. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. You love deeply. You believe in unconditional love because that is how Christ has loved you. You are willing to endure hardships for the sake of your relationship. But the female covert narcissist warps this beautiful truth. She makes you believe that your love should tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, and emotional manipulation. She convinces you that if you truly love her, you will accept her behavior, make sacrifices, and prove your loyalty, no matter how much she takes from you. And when you start questioning whether this is truly love, she twists scripture, telling you that love is patient and that you should turn the other cheek. She uses your own faith against you, making you doubt whether you are being a godly man. But real love does not enslave. Real love does not manipulate. Real love does not drain you until you have nothing left. So, what's next? Now that you understand why you were chosen, how your best qualities became your greatest vulnerability, you need to ask yourself, how does she turn these beautiful, God-given traits into chains that keep you trapped? Because recognizing the pattern is just the beginning. The real battle is learning how to break free. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship where you felt emotionally drained, manipulated, or constantly guilty, leave a comment below. Your story might help someone else see the truth. Let's dive deeper. Phase 1. The seduction. The temptation of the forbidden fruit. The female covert narcissist doesn't appear as a threat. She enters your life as a rare gift, an answer to your prayers. Everything about her seems perfect. She reflects your values, shares your dreams, and makes you feel seen in a way no one else ever has. But beneath the surface, it's all a carefully crafted illusion. She doesn't rush. She studies you. She learns what you long for, what makes you feel alive, and then becomes the perfect embodiment of your desires. And, just like that, she pulls you in. How she draws you in, the carefully orchestrated seduction one. She makes you feel like the most special man in the world. From the start, she overwhelms you with admiration, validation, and affection. She calls you her protector, her safe place, her once-in-a-lifetime love. She mirrors your values and tells you that she's never met anyone like you. It's intoxicating. It feels real, but it's not love. It's love bombing, a calculated tactic designed to make you addicted to her approval. 2. Sex becomes a tool for control. She creates an intense physical bond, making you feel like the chemistry is beyond natural. But intimacy isn't just about connection, it's about control. She rewards you with affection when you meet her expectations and withdraws when you don't. She convinces you that no other woman could ever satisfy you the way she does, ensuring you fear losing her. What feels like deep passion is actually psychological conditioning. 3. The broken bird act, a trap. Disguised as vulnerability, she plays the victim, crafting a tragic backstory designed to pull at your heart. She shares tales of betrayal, abandonment, and deep emotional wounds, making you believe that you were chosen by God to heal her. She doesn't ask for your help outright. She makes you feel like you must help her. That if you don't, no one else will. And this is where the real trap is set. 4. She makes you believe you are her savior. She drops hints about how others have abandoned her and subtly implies that you are different, the only man strong enough to love her through her pain. She creates moments of emotional intensity, reinforcing the idea that your love is the only thing holding her together. Without realizing it, you're no longer just a man in love, you are a man on a mission. You ignore red flags because you believe in her potential. You sacrifice your needs because you think she's worth it. You silence your doubts because you don't want to be like the men who gave up on her. The devastating outcome when seduction becomes a prison. By the time you realize something is wrong, you are emotionally entangled. You don't just love her, you feel responsible for her. Leaving feels impossible. Walking away would mean abandoning someone who needs you. But here's the truth. This was never love. It was a carefully designed trap. Have you experienced this? Have you ever felt like you had to save someone in a relationship? Have you sacrificed your happiness trying to fix someone who only seemed to take more and more? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help set someone else free. But this is only the beginning, because once she has you hooked, the real manipulation begins. Phase 2. The hook. When the enemy erases your boundaries. The female covert narcissist doesn't trap you with chains. She traps you with confusion. She doesn't demand your submission. She makes you willingly surrender it. By this stage, she has you questioning everything, your actions, your words, even your own memory. One moment, you're the love of her life. The next, she's cold, distant, and impossible to reach. And just like that, you're hooked. How she rewires your mind to keep you chasing one. The sudden distance, testing your loyalty. At first, she made you feel like the center of her world, but now she's pulling away. She stops responding as quickly. She cancels plans. She seems uninterested. You panic. Did you do something wrong? You overanalyze every word, every text, every interaction. You try harder, sending longer messages, apologizing for things you didn't do, chasing her validation. This isn't accidental. It's a manipulation tactic called intermittent reinforcement, a psychological trick that makes you addicted to her approval. 2, false guilt, making you the problem. Once you're chasing her, she flips the script. Suddenly, she's the victim. She accuses you of being distant, of not caring enough, of failing her. She brings up old conversations, twisting your words into something you never meant. And you believe her. You start apologizing just to keep the peace. You walk on eggshells, always trying to do better. But no matter what you do, the guilt never stops, because this was never about resolving problems, it was about control. 3, the silent expectation, forcing you to prove yourself. So, now she expects you to read her mind. She drops vague hints that something is wrong but refuses to tell you what. If you don't figure it out, she acts disappointed. She compares you to other men who are more romantic or more understanding. She sets impossible emotional tests, then punishes you when you fail. You start doubting yourself. Or maybe you should be more sensitive. Maybe you should be doing more. Maybe if you just love her enough, she'll finally be happy. That's the trap. She doesn't want resolution. She wants control over how you think, act, and feel. The emotional contract. The chains of your own promises. Now she makes you swear loyalty. You'll never leave me, right? You'll always be there for me? You're not like everyone else who abandoned me, are you? And because you're a man of integrity, you mean it. But now, those promises are weapons against you. The moment you try to set a boundary, she says, but you promised. If you try to walk away, she plays the victim, making you feel like a betrayer. Your faithfulness becomes your prison. The result, you are no longer acting from love. You are acting from fear. You don't stay because you want to. You stay because you're afraid. Afraid that leaving will destroy her. Afraid that pulling away means you failed as a protector. Afraid that walking away makes you a bad man, an unfaithful Christian. But here's the truth. This is not love. This is not sacrifice. This is spiritual bondage. Have you experienced this? Have you ever felt like you were constantly trying to prove your love? Have you given everything only to be told it's still not enough? Drop a comment below. Your story might be the light someone else needs, because once she has you hooked, she will make sure you never leave. Phase 3. The anchor. The manufactured moral burden. By now, she no longer needs to convince you to stay. You've already convinced yourself. Not because you love her, but because you've been conditioned to believe that leaving would make you a failure and that walking away would mean you're betraying your vows, your responsibilities, your faith. This is how the female covert narcissist keeps you trapped, not with force, but with guilt, obligation, and fear. She doesn't want love. She wants control. No matter how much you reassure her, it's never enough. She questions your devotion, tests your loyalty, and makes you feel like you're failing her at every turn. You bend over backward to keep her happy, constantly proving yourself, but the finish line keeps moving. The more you try, the less of yourself remains. She twists your kindness into weakness and your love into servitude. Taking time for yourself becomes selfish. Spending time with friends becomes neglect. Expressing your needs becomes an attack on her. So you shrink. You sacrifice your happiness, hoping she'll finally feel secure. But she never does, because this was never about love. It was about power. Over time, you stop recognizing yourself. Your laughter fades. Your passions disappear. Your relationships crumble. She isolates you, convincing you that only she understands you. Your world shrinks until she becomes the only thing in it. You live in a constant state of exhaustion, fearing that if you stop giving, she'll abandon you. But here's the truth. You already lost, not because you failed, but because this was never love. It was a carefully designed trap to drain you of everything you are. Do you feel like you're constantly proving your love? Are you exhausted but afraid to stop giving? Have you lost relationships, dreams, and joy because of her? Comment below if you see these patterns. Your story could help someone else break free. But the worst part? She's not done yet. Even if you leave, she'll make sure you never truly escape. Phase 4. The cat and mouse game. She keeps you, not with love, but with fear. By now, you are no longer just her partner. You are her prisoner, not physically, not legally, but emotionally and spiritually. The female covert narcissist doesn't bind you with chains. She binds you with fear. The fear that without her, you will be lost. The fear that leaving means losing everything. She has rewritten your reality, conditioning you to doubt yourself, to see the world only through her distorted lens. She has trapped you in an endless loop of pain and hope, always giving just enough to keep you from walking away. One moment she is warm, affectionate, and seemingly remorseful. She makes you feel seen, special, and irreplaceable. Then, just as you begin to trust her again, she withdraws, becoming distant, indifferent, even cruel. You chase after her, trying to earn back the love she dangled before you. And when you finally reach the breaking point, she reels you back in with empty promises and fleeting tenderness. This cycle is not love, it is addiction. She has trained you to equate love with suffering, devotion with self-sacrifice, and commitment with compliance. She has taken so much from you, your time, your energy, even your sense of self. Yet she convinces you that leaving her would be the real loss. She plants doubts in your mind. No one else will ever love you like I do. You'll never be happy without me. You will regret walking away. And so, you stay. Not because you truly believe in the relationship, but because she has made you fear life without her more than the pain of staying. Over time, she distorts your understanding of love, commitment, and sacrifice. Love is no longer about mutual respect. It is about survival. Forgiveness is no longer about grace. It is about erasing her wrongs. Commitment is no longer about partnership. It is about obedience. You justify her actions, excuse her behavior, and convince yourself that if you love her more, she will change. But deep down, you know this isn't love. It's control. It's deception. You are not meant to live in fear. You were not created to lose yourself in a toxic love. You were made for freedom, for a love that uplifts, not destroys. The question is, will you break the cycle? Or will you stay trapped in a love that was never real? If you have experienced this, comment below. Your testimony may help someone else wake up. How to break free from a female covert narcissist and reclaim the life God intended for you. Don't let deception define your future. Discover the steps to true freedom and restoration. This is your moment to rewrite the ending of your story. You've been trapped in a cycle of deception, manipulation, and emotional torment, believing that suffering was proof of love. But let's make one thing clear. This was never love. It was control. It was a counterfeit. And it's time to break free. Step 1. Recognize the truth. Love does not drain, manipulate, or isolate. It does not fill you with fear, guilt, or confusion. The moment you accept that what you endured was not love, the chains begin to break. You were used, not cherished, controlled, not valued. But God did not call you to be a prisoner. He called you to freedom. Step 2, cut off all contact. This is the hardest step, but it is also the most crucial. No more messages, no more checking in, no more hoping she will change. She won't. The only way to reclaim your mind and your heart is to remove her completely from your life. Block her number. Delete her social media. Resist the pull of her manipulation. Yes, it will hurt, but every time you respond, you keep yourself in bondage. Step 3, rebuild your support system. Narcissists isolate you for a reason. They want you to depend on them alone. Now it's time to reconnect with those who truly love you. Reach out to trusted friends, reconnect with family, join a church community, and surround yourself with people who will lift you up instead of tear you down. You are not alone. Healing begins in the presence of real love. Step 4, seek healing. The wounds of narcissistic abuse go deep. Self-doubt, anxiety, fear, and a loss of identity. But healing is possible. Seek counseling, talk to a pastor or mentor, and spend time in prayer. Let God restore what was stolen from you. Step 5, step into the future. God has for you. God did not create you to live in bondage. He has something greater, a life of peace, purpose, and real love. But you must take the first step. Will you stay trapped in the cycle? Or will you step into the life God is calling you to? If you know someone who is stuck in this cycle, share this message. It might just save their life. And don't stop here. Watch the next video to learn how to protect yourself and never fall into this trap again. Freedom is yours to claim. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. One path keeps you trapped in manipulation and self-doubt. The other leads to freedom and healing. The enemy wants you to believe you are powerless, but that is a lie. You do have power. You do have a sound mind, and you are not alone. Many have broken free, rebuilt their lives, and found true love, the kind that reflects God's heart, not deception. God has already given you strength, wisdom, and a future beyond this toxic cycle. But you must choose to walk in it. If this video resonated with you, take action. Like, comment, and share your story. It could help someone else. And don't stop here. Watch the next video to protect yourself from narcissistic abuse. Knowledge is your greatest weapon. Step into the life God has called you to live.